Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of my Dark Avenger comic book reviews. The comic books in this review came out the week of Wednesday, January 20th, 2010, and I'm sure I said that all loopy. Got a lot of comic books this week. Well, actually last week. A lot of comic books came out this week. As a matter of fact, had to move a few over to the following week, but we'll save that for the news. Got a few teasers, a little bit of news for you guys. Save that for the end, as always. And a little bit of a rant towards the end about a certain comic company, but once again, we saved that for the end. Okay, so let's just get right into the comic books. First comic book is DeadPool, Merc with a Mouth, number 7. I know a lot of you are saying, Chris, you were just making fun of DeadPool. Why, oh why did you pick that comic up? I'll be honest with you, the cover says it all. It's a wraparound comic. It has a front and back. It's one nice big comic book. I'm not going to open it up and take it all out. I don't know. I just figured I'm not going to get DeadPool. I'm not going to get DeadPool teams because too Spider-Man-y for me, the DeadPool team one. So I figured it's the second story in Merc with a Mouth. The first 6 comics being the intro storyline. So this is the beginning of the new storyline where Deadpool's trying to get zombie Deadpool's head back to its own universe, and he goes jumping around. You see Lady Deadpool, you see Army Deadpool, you see Cowboy Deadpool, which Lady Deadpool is going to be also in the Deadpool Corp bullshit. Actually, the comic book doesn't do that much of breaking the fourth wall as I thought, like a lot of people said it does. But there was a very freaky scene. I actually am going to be taking this comic book out. And it happens towards the end, I guess you could say, of this comic. And it was just a freaky scene. And it's right at the top of this page right here. That, I believe, broke some type of wall. I just don't know which one. Deadpool making out with his female self in another universe. Okay. Very interesting. I actually found this comic a little bit entertaining, so I'm gonna hang on to this comic book for a while. It's not that bad. I understand Deadpool's being literally oversaturated, and we'll get into that later on a little bit more. But in essence, this one comic book at least, pretty nice, pretty nice, and it's the only one that doesn't have a cardboard because I want to show you guys the back. Okay, so that's one. Next, we have Captain America 602 coming back from the DL list for a little bit there. It's been on the outs for a while since the Reborn started. Storyline coming back is two Americas. It's basically the guy that changed his entire outlook to look just like Steve Rogers because he idolized him is back. And let's not forget, Bucky is now still Captain America. Steve Rogers is off the radar for a while. So Bucky's still Captain America. So this guy's running around with a group of people trying to make America, I don't know, he's crazy. I said it all right there. And Bucky goes undercover and he wants to join up with this guy so he can stop him once and for all. So that's the whole beginning. I did not read the Nomad second part. That was just shit. I don't know why they would put that in. I mean, to charge an extra $1. I think the comic would have done fine without it. A lot of people say it's good. There's 2 stories in it. They're trying to copy DC because DC started those second feature things, and I think that's bullshit. This comic could have stood up on its own without Nomad. I'm sorry. That's the only downside to that comic book, and skippable. Another limited series which started up last week. The Avengers versus Agent Atlas. I was skeptical. Very, very skeptical of this comic book because there were hints that the old Avengers were in it, but it takes place in the present, so the new Avengers are in it also. So, I don't know. It starts off very slow, and then the Avengers somehow get changed into the old Avengers, and that's how the comic ends. And the new Avengers before that are fighting huge-ass robot that's from the Agent Atlas people. And it's to be continued. The comic books are going to make one big picture. As you can see, it cuts off here, and the next cover will conjoin with it. I actually liked it. It was nice to see the new Avengers change into like the older Avengers, and I'm guessing they're going to be the Avengers that dominate the other 3 parts of the series, I hope. Because no offense to the new Avengers, I like Wolverine, I like Spider-Man and Luke Cage and everything, but it's nice to see some old Avengers shit again with Iron Man, Cap, and Thor. and Giant Man and a few other people that we haven't seen for God knows how long. Avengers Disassemble, I believe. So it's nice to see some old Avengers, coming back together. So it's a nice comic. I would get it if you have the extra money. It's not that much. It's a pretty decent amount of money, especially if you buy them Midtown like I do every weekend. Now, the coup de grace. Superman and the Outsiders with a question mark. It's not. It's the Outsiders, really. Outsiders 26. The cover just says Superman and the Outsiders with a question mark. I called it from the very beginning. Superman is not on DC Universe's Earth right now. So, it's not Superman that joins up with the Outsiders. A lot of people were saying it might be because Batman was with the Outsiders for a while. I called it from the get-go when I saw the poster. I knew it was going to be somebody from the Superman family, but not the actual Superman. And huge spoiler, I'll show you the last page, because really the rest of the comic book was bullshit, because it led up to the last page. The Eradicator is the one that joins the Outsiders. And I just have one question. How did he go from being the Visor Superman, that's what I used to call him back in the 90s, how did he go from being Visor Superman to going to looking to an original Eradicator back to being Visor Superman again? I have no idea. No questions are being asked at this moment. The book is slow. Very slow, and it was boring. I'll be honest with you, the last page was the only good part, and Dan Ditto, the executive in charge of DC, wrote this story. They're trying so hard to keep this series going because it's so boring, and I've seen the ratings for this series. Not good. Not good at all. So they're trying to revive the series. They're trying to give it some life. Maybe they figure a Superman... Very bad idea to bring a Superman character in right now with the way the Superman comics are being dealt with, but that's another story. That's another story completely. I'll pick up the next issue to see what exactly Eradicator is doing, but I don't know. It has promise, but it has so much promise to go the opposite way also. So it's a 50-50 at this moment. Like I said, the best page was the last one in this entire issue. And to be honest with you, Eradicator, I think I'm more excited about Superboy joining back up with the Teen Titans than Eradicator joining the Outsiders. And that's all I have to say to that. Yeah, and that's all I have to say to that. Next, we have Uncanny X-Men 520. Well, I'm telling you, man. And I have more news on X-Men. You guys saw last week the poster that said which one will lead. It was Cyclops, Emma Frost, and Magneto. I'm telling you the truth. The way this comic is going, Scott is not exactly a good leader. I mean, they're having a meeting, and practically nobody shows up except Emma and a few other people. Magneto's going behind Scott Summers' back to help save the Nation X, and he does. I guess he does. I mean, it's in the process as we speak. Magneto just wants everyone to trust him. Scott, of course, says he doesn't trust him. I don't know. I think Scott is acting like a big ass. I'm being honest with you. I know he's probably not going to be the one that doesn't get to be leader, but I'm being honest, he's doing a shit job. Charles Xavier did a whole lot better than him. I don't know why he doesn't just take over the X-Men again. Everybody's edgy on Nation X. Everybody wants to go back to the United States. The United States wants them back. They're asking for them to come back, and Scott Summers is like, no. Until Norman Osborn's out of power, we're not going anywhere. We're staying here. You ask me, I think Scott Summers is starting to lose it. And I think that's what's going to lead into the events in March. My opinion. We'll get more into that later. Once again, good comic. There's another story. The cover says it all. Wolverine, Psylocke, Colossus go off looking for this guy. They're trying to find answers to the Predator X, and they're trying to trace it back to whoever sent it to the Nation X and to put them down once and for all. Basically, this ends with Magneto leaving Nation X and going off trying to find himself. I'm guessing the next issue is going to be a Magneto heavy because he's on the cover meditating, which is where this comic leads off, with him standing on top of a mountain. We'll see where this goes next month or next issue. I don't know if they're going to do 2 this month. And with the Finger, I'm guessing that this is the end of part 1. Come back. We have a few more comics to go. A lot more comics, actually, to go. And we will be back. I will be back in 2 seconds. I say we because my brother's holding the camera, but I will be back in 2 seconds. So catch you in the next part.